You can't just show people being killed. You can't just be about showing people that in itself. You've got to be about more than that when it comes to many things to do with the very growth of the black community in itself. Donald Trump has done some things in itself with his money that he receives from being a president. He give it to black colleges and so on and so on, which is good. Ain't nobody arguing that point. You know what I mean? But when you take office, no one should be hearing stories about your social security is going to be cut off. No one should be hearing about that your um, social security, your welfare, social service, and Section E, and all these different programs that were given in order to be able to yield a inch for what the damage were done based on that. Now the question still remains is where did the mind frame come that always lead back to the old days to now, which have changed over time, but it's the same game and the same design, to where you wouldn't want to see black people, you know what I'm saying, get ahead in no shape or form. You know what I'm saying? As if many black people, want robbed of many things, and many things even in Africa by their own was even sometimes robbed away from them by their own and keeping to a certain overstanding. Not even having even in many villages and places to even have protection where anybody could come in and raid and kill and murder and rape and murder the babies and do all kinds of evil, nasty things under the sun that you wouldn't believe. And I wonder how many times this has happened over the centuries. You know what I mean? So we have to look at that. And it's even led to what we see now. Save, bullshit. And then we constantly have to sit here arguing back and forth, or even speaking about equality or anything to do with something like that. You know what I mean? Anything to do with something like that. Why should we be sitting up here arguing over equality and anything to do with that in a time such as what we see today? So we know, in a sense, that the whole situation still would definitely question in itself of where did this type of mind frame come from that leads to this type of behavior on anybody across the global spectrum and the world itself. Why would men over centuries of time enslave a whole set of people, or we would say humans, right? And humans doing it to humans and so on and so on and so on. You know what I'm saying? And been doing it over a century to where it became an economy that you are doing this to a person because he's not your skin color, or I'm some type of god and I'm supposed to do this to you, or this is what we just came out the mountains and over time had this idea. So it had to come from somewhere. For it to be so long and so many years of that same nonsense. The question is, who and what have been orchestrating this in itself? Because as we see right now, we have no peace even within our own government. We have no peace. What we have is a mass of confusion, you know what I'm saying, and many people judgment, but no clarity. No clarity. The only clarity we see is two candidates. You know what I'm saying? One is definitely a screwball, you know what I'm saying, creep Joe Broke Bad Bees Biden, you know what I'm saying, and the other one seems to really care about his country and what it stands for. And he knows the strength and the power and the glory of this land that he have lived all his life. But we see Iran has plotted to assassinate. I know a lot of people heard, saying Trump. They bringing out this report saying that Iran plot to assassinate the president of the United States was recently revealed. U.S. authorities prompt and increased security around the leading 2024 presidential candidate. Multiple sources said, according to CNN. Lioness News. This is it's a breaking news that will update any time, as they say. But we see the Iran, plot comes just after Trump was shot in the head, shot in the head, okay. He was shot in the head. Everybody know that's not true. But he was shot and he missed and hit his ear probably. Because if it had hit his head altogether, it wouldn't have just hit on his ear. Because your whole head do consist of your ears, but your head is more of your skull that people would formulate in their mentality. So when you use the phrase, Trump was shot in the head during a rally in Pennsylvania, Trump miraculously survived the assassination attempt in recent months. We see, it's unclear if the would-be assassin from the attack in Pennsylvania is linked to the report on the Iran plot. No one knows. You know what I'm saying? Or is he linked to the deep state or whoever pulled the trickery or however they go? You know what I'm saying? But we see Creep Joe Biden wrote back, bitch is finally planning to announce term limits and new ethnic codes targeting the Supreme Court. You know what I'm saying? But we see Creep Joe Biden, crooked ass, you know what I'm saying, may propose term limits and a ethics code for the Supreme Court. The Washington, D.C. Post reported. The plan would need congressional approval, and Creep Joe Biden is turning to his allies for help. The president has long rejected the call to expand the Supreme Court, despite pressure to do so. Creep Joe Biden, wrote back wannabe president, may be preparing to take on the conservative majority Supreme Court ahead. Supreme Court head on. I mean, he's trying to take it on head on, according to the news report by the Washington Post. We see Joe Biden announce a proposal to establish term limits and enforceable ethnic codes. What Joe Biden is going to try to do is he's going to try to muscle the Supreme Court, into bending its rules. And then when it gets to a certain checkmate or check on the board, on the chessboard, they'll be able to call on that. And if he thinks that he's going to get, into ethnical codes on the ethnical codes that would be on the high court, the report citing that people briefed on the plan, specific details on the proposals, or when it might be officially announced, was not immediately available on this matter. That's what we see. You know what I mean? But the Supreme Court has existing codes of conduct rolled out last November, which outlined when a sitting justice should recuse himself from a case. You see what I'm saying? So this is no more than some type of measure, in order to be able to not have um, a back and forth understanding of putting their own and appointing their own there. And then at the same time, when they appoint their own there, they're able to get this done and they're able to get that done, or they're able to move this out of the way and shift this to the left. And when he come with that and do this, we're able to come with two, three, four, and everything goes this and that. And this will put some kind of ethical code in the Supreme Court. Now, the thing I'm going to say about this is there should be an ethical code, and there is there already. There needs to be no more by a creep Joe broke back big demon democratic president to have no kind of ethnic codes or grip outside of the self-governing Supreme Court of itself to be a separate entity or an entity that holds the highest laws that court can administer in itself to be the judge of whatever the case may be. There is too much political unrest to call it a Supreme Court of judges that are appointed by political affiliation. That is not a heroic Supreme Court in itself. So we know that what he's trying to do now is saying that they have broken codes and they have did this and they have did that by picking on Clarence Thomas and all kinds of nonsense to make sure that they can come in with these codes saying that there's a lot of misconduct and so forth there and the codes are not working, so I'm going to bring in my own ethical codes, you know what I'm saying? And he's saying the Supreme Court, you know what I'm saying, from what he's saying in this matter, he's saying that the sitting justice should recuse himself from the case, and when uh, outside activity, you know, say recuse the case, and when outside activity may create an appearance of conflict, you know, say in the matter of interest. However, unlike the codes that binds the lower court justice, the Supreme Court ethics code lack any enforcement mechanism. That's what I just said. He wants to use that so that when the demon Democrats do their garbage or however they do this and however they do that, they know for whether the next step will be going up to the Supreme Court. And when they go to the Supreme Court, they want, rather than have their appointees having to keep shuffle appointees, and then appointees can flip on them in the demon democratic bullshit garbage and the games they play, they'll be able to keep them at bay, and they would have to fall back or recuse themselves if they don't agree with the nonsense. So they can say, well, we're going to blow the whole country up. You know what I'm saying? And two of the judges say, well, we don't agree with that. You know what I'm saying? And the codes that are there, you know what I'm saying? And he's saying, however, unlike the code that binds the lower the court justice, the Supreme Court lacks lacks enforcement mechanism. You know what I'm saying? It requires sitting court judge to regulate themselves with critics, you know what I'm saying, regarding the measures as toothless against the court lifetime appointees. You see what I'm saying? So he's trying to say that the Supreme Court is corrupt in all ways and they need ethics and they need mechanism and they need this. But what's going to happen is he's going to put ethics mechanism and all type of shit in there. And just like what happened during the pandemic where people were going to the Supreme Court or taking the Supreme Court and still not getting any justice and still had to be forced into doing the slam lama ding dong. You know, baby, you put the ooh mama, you know, and they had to go do all of that shit and probably even, you know, go over there and get the rocket booster, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, there was no real mechanism that the court supplied to me in all cases that were presented, whether it's sugar job or not. They didn't present any to me, any stoppage or any formula of a stoppage in the matter of the pandemic and what was taking place amongst the people, upon the people, in the weaponization of government and censorship that still goes on today, you know what I'm saying, long after pandemic. You know what I'm saying? And nobody said anything about anything really other than what they felt in more ways than one, the truth of the matter really is. So that telling me that even with this law that he's talking about, a court ethics code, you know what I'm saying, it no more than another Gestapo type rule, you know what I'm saying, in more ways than one. You know what I'm saying? In more ways than one. So he's full of shit to me on that ground any damn way. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to see here with Creep Joe and his nonsense talking about some ethics and all of this shit after the shit that he did. You know what I'm saying? But we see Creep Joe Biden in the first major speech after Trump's shooting accused him of lying like hell. Now, this is another thing. Why y'all back and forth in each other's mouth talking about who did this and who did that? You know what I'm saying? And constantly attacking. Now, you should be ashamed of yourself as a political party. And all the whole time you in government, all you doing all these years is fucking up, jumping party lines, crossing party lines, fighting each other, and all type of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Instead of talking about, see, because you see a lot of propaganda in itself. You know what I mean? But we see you with a Creep Joe broke back bitch ass behind on Tuesday made his first major speech since the assassination attempt on Donald J. Trump, laminating how heated politics have become. You know, laminating how he and his conglomerates have heated up politics, and now look what it has become. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying, the pivoting back, you know what I'm saying, to fierce attack on the president claims in policy proposal avoiding personal attack, but at one point accusing him of lying like hell. As the GOP, you know what I'm saying, gather for Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, in background, Wisconsin, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He traveled to Los Angeles to rally black voters in battleground Nevada, you know what I'm saying? I guess. You know what I'm saying? What was billed as an official event, but sound like a campaign rally. This is one of his statements. He said, I'm truly honored to be here at this tense moment in the country, he said, addressing in more ways than one the NAACP National Convention, referring to Saturday shooting just 3 days before. You know what I'm saying? I don't trust the NAACP much. It is a tense moment just a few days after the assassination attempt on Donald J. Trump, where, grateful he was not seriously injured, Pete Joe Biden said. We continue to pray for him. Yeah, in what dream? The Luciferian hell drop, in the Luciferian backdrop hell that you live in. But we see he wasn't hurt. His family wasn't hurt. It's time for important conversation in this country, not with your crazy ass. Our politics has gotten too heated. You know what I'm saying? He continued, as I've said in the Oval Office of his brain on Sunday night, as I've made clear throughout my presidency, no, clear throughout your cheating ass presidency, we all have responsibility to lower the temperature. No, we're going to keep the momentum as the steam shit rolls. No violence, no uproaring, no civil war, just straight on power to the people. That's what we should be going with it. You know what I'm saying? Because we got a job to do all around the world. You know what I'm saying? Don't think that just because it's peace and safety here, don't mean that we mustn't just lay down and not watch our back. You know what I'm saying? But we see on Sunday night, as I made it clear throughout his crooked ass presidency, we have we have to a responsibility to lower the temperature and condemn violence and violence in any form. You gotta remember, in America, we're not enemies, we're friends, we're neighbors. Wait, who's saying this again? The Democratic Party? Creepy Joe? Wait a minute. Ooh. He said we all have a responsibility to lower the temperature and condemn violence in any form. You got, you gotta, you gotta, you say, what's that, Joe Biden, Ebonics, you know what I'm saying? You got to remember, in America, we, in America, we're not enemies. We're friends. We're neighbors. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Stupid ass. You know what I'm saying? So Creep Joe Biden said, you see, but Creep Joe Biden did not refrain from, you know what I'm saying, relentlessly criticizing the President Donald J. Trump in 30-minute speech, saying that just because you must lower the temperature doesn't lower the temperature. Just because you say lower the temperature doesn't mean we should stop telling the truth. The truth. What truth, Creep Joe Biden? The one that you slander his name, you doctor his films, you did all types of shit on YouTube, you censor every time somebody stick you like you was doing on the I forgot my man's show that I was watching on YouTube. Every time you put up a comment, they would take the comment down. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want you to see that the demon Democrats are crooked like a motherfucker, and that's just the way it is. And they the one that had a lot to do with everything that we see going on. You know what I'm saying? Them and the and within. You know what I'm saying? And so we know, you know what I mean, that he's telling a whole bunch of garbage right about now. You know, when we look at it. When we look at it. You know, talking about in his 30 minutes, we saying just because we lower the temperature doesn't mean that we must stop telling the truth. You have never told the truth. You have never told the people the truth. You and maybe a whole lot of other presidents just like you talking about telling the truth of who you are, what you've done, what you do. That's reverse psychology, wordplay, and a bunch of motherfucking propaganda bullshitical reverse psychology, bullshitical talk. Creep Joe Biden used Saturday shooting to launch into a forceful condemnation, a forceful condemnation of gun violence in America, nearly yelling when he cited the impact of gun violence that you and the demon Democrats created. You asshole. And then trying to turn it around where you hire and do what you do in order to get those people, you know what I'm saying, to be the guilty ones of the psychological game and reverse psychology in the design in which it has been put into play. So you're trying to disarm the American people while you flood the city with your cannons through the southern border. Is something wrong with this man? He said, you know the pain, the price of violence. Oh, you definitely know that. You want us to go back in your history? You understand if you're going to talk about standing against violence, you must stand against all violence. Joe Biden said, addressing the NAACP members, you know what I'm saying, who ain't gonna save a motherfucker but themselves before listing off other noble acts of violence, notable acts of violence, including the killing of George Floyd. See, you see, got him again. The killing of George Floyd and the events of January 6th. You see. So Donald Trump had George Floyd killed, and he did the January 6th nonsense too. More children in America died of gun wounds than any other reason. I wonder why. And by design, who have been and always been promoting that into the black community with no way out other than by the bullet. Like Malcolm said, the ballot or the bullet. You know what I'm saying? Gunshot wounds, you know what I'm saying, than any other reason. That is stunning, and that he's saying that is stunning, and that is sick, just like you are creepy, broke back bear, Lucifer, Lucifer, bloodsucker, motherfucker. Period. You know what I'm saying? He later almost shouted. He later should have gotten off the stage. It helped. Joe Biden appeared, you know what I'm saying, in more ways than one.